Hello, this is my second devlog of Mayhem and a showcase of how the features have evolved a bit over the past week and such. It's still the same game mode, it still looks the same on the screen, it's still the same game mode concept, however it has changed quite a bit. For one, dashing into other players in this mode and the normal katamari one will knock them back. They take a lot of knockback, so you can kind of hit them away and get them away from the good items or knock items off them. I've also worked on a lot of stuff. One is the UI. There's a timer in the top corner. There's a thing that tells you what to collect in the bottom right corner. The thing in the top still looks the same. And this level, I haven't implemented the score mechanics yet. However, as you see, I've messed with the terrain. It kind of goes up and down and such. And yeah, has a lot of holes, so you can just knock people off if you want. The main gimmick of this stage is there's a lot of stuff in the middle, but you need to be slightly bigger to get to it. So you can either go into the corners or on the sides and stuff. And yeah, as you see, if people knock into you, they can just knock you off, and it can be an issue for you. Because the score isn't set up in this one, it'll just say it was a tie when the timer hits 0. Actually, I'm not sure if I had the start button last time. I'm pretty sure I did, but yeah, you could just hit start. There's a few levels like this one. This one is a bowl. And you just have to pick up a lot of stuff, get really big, and then you can get the bigger stuff. As you see, you can collect all these things. This is what the collect thing looks like. You see, I'll collect these. It's a pile of stuff to collect. No item is really better than another in this one, although the bigger ones are kind of in greater magnitudes, and it's easier to pick up bigger ones. I'm gonna pick up a few items to show you something with a dash. If you dash into someone, you can also plane it and say hit them into something, so they lose more. As you see, I hit them into that, and things should have gotten knocked off them even more. I'm gonna use the debug to get other scenes up. Here we go. It's more visual in this bed scene. There's just a lot of beds. I don't know what I was thinking. It's katamari. Who needs logic? Yeah, as you see, my opponent is pretty big. They have a lot of beds, but if I just dash into them, it knocks them off, and once they hit the wall, they lose even more. So I can then go in and try and swoop up the beds while they still have the velocity from being knocked back. Being much bigger than someone and hitting them, which is still an issue for them, gives them much less knockback, as compared to when you're dashing into them, when they take more knockback. And if both players are dashing at the same time, they'll still take the lesser knockback because of how forces work logically. That's just kind of how I coded it. You see, player 1-1. As you see, I think this scene was in the previous one. I only edited it a little bit. I haven't gotten the train tools. There's a single scene that's currently broken with elevation, which I have to fix because I made a giant mountain in the middle. This one works really well. It's a mesa type area, has a lot of rocks, and this one's an example of one that's important to know what you need to collect, because okay, there's a bunch of rocks, there's a bunch of trees, there's a bunch of elephants, and a bunch of stuff around, but I'm not getting any score. It's important that you know what gives you score in the levels, because that's all that matters. In this one, it's the silo that matters in the middle. So say when you see someone pick up the silo, you want to go over to them and try and make it so they don't have the silo anymore. Dash into them, get the silo off them. You see I was dashed into, now the silo's on the ground. If my opponent was big enough, they could pick up the silo, but they're not right now because I've only been controlling this one. But if you're working against each other, both moving, you're going to be about the same size because I've made everything evenly distributed. It may be kind of oddly distributed, but in basically all the levels, I've made sure it's exactly evenly distributed. In this one level, I'll just show you in the scene viewer, it's less evenly distributed, but it's just the trees are all over the place, and you need to collect the trees in this one. Collecting the house does nothing. You can do it, but it doesn't do anything. This level is just a big hill in the middle, which is why I'm clipping through the ground. You can also actually see on my screen where the collect these thing is, because of how I've set it up. I should probably move it further away on some, but that's just how I felt like setting it up. If I want to, I can set how long the timer is, but all the levels are just kind of 1 minute right now. Feels like a good amount of time for a level of this size. Things in this, I think it's 30 or, it's either 30 or 300 meters long, 200 meters, it's just something big. And although this size is not reflective of how big you are, it is simply visual, as you see. Because in some levels you saw it was really big. I can scroll through a few levels as you see, oh, this one says 3 meters, this one says I'm 150 meters, but you just think you're 150 meters because you're big collecting the submarines and the UFOs, but you're actually only technically 5 meters. If I go into this, I could show you this requires around 5 meters to pick up. You're actually only 5 meters. But that's kind of how it works. I can show you your quote-unquote size as to not cause a lag in the system itself, rendering a huge 100-meter object. Just tell you it's 100 meters and make items look like they're that big. So you truly feel like you're actually getting really insanely big. And just kind of fun. It's fun to code this, it's fun to model things. And thank you guys for watching the video.